Okay, today we're going to work on making sitting in cross-legged position a little more comfortable. We're going to start in our tabletop position. You're going to come with your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and then as you breathe in, push your tailbone up, look up as you arch your spine. As you breathe out, round through your spine, look back at your toes, and then inhale, come forward. Exhale, round. One more time, inhale and exhale. Inhale, come back to neutral. Then I'm going to turn towards you and have my dog come sit down. Come on. Okay. Then we're going to start by extending our left leg out to the side. Bring your hands back down as you were in tabletop position. Your toes pointing forward and the sole of your foot pushing down into the ground. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, sit all the way back slowly towards your heel. And then inhale, come forward. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. One more time. Inhale, come forward. And then exhale, sit back. And then you're going to come back to your tabletop position. This time we're going to go side to side with our motion. So as you breathe in, you're going to push your hips over to the right, look back over your left shoulder, and then inhale, come back. Exhale, go the other way. Back to center. One more time to each side. Okay, then come back to center. This time extend your right leg out, straight toes pointing forward, sole of your foot pressing down into the mat. Take a breath in, and then as you exhale, sit back slowly towards your heel. Then inhale, come forward. Exhale, sit back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale forward, and then one more time. Exhale, and then inhale. Come back to tabletop position. And we're going to come all the way down into child's pose. So you're going to bring your knees out wide on your mat, big toes together. Sit all the way back towards your heels. Reach your hands forward as far as you can reach and bring your pinkies to the edge of your mat with your fingers spread out. Then bring your forehead down to the mat. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Okay, then with your next inhale, come up slowly, rounding through your spine. You're going to bring your feet out wide, keeping your knees where they are. Shift your hips forward and then lower yourself all the way down onto your stomach. With your next breath in, slowly peel yourself up, slow as you can, coming all the way back up. Sitting back, and as you sit back, bring your feet back together. Your knees stay where they are the whole time. Sit all the way back into child's pose again. Take another breath. Okay, then one more time. Come up slowly, rounding through your spine as you breathe in. Bring your feet out wide. Shift your hips forward, lower down. Then inhale, come back up. Peeling up slowly. Sit your hips back, bring your feet back together, back to your child's pose again. Okay, then with your next breath, round back up. This time just come back to your tabletop. Bring your knees back to hip distance apart and your hands underneath your shoulders. Okay. In this position, press down into the mat with your hands so you engage through your shoulders. Pull your belly in, which means engage your core. Then we're going to start with some fire hydrant circles. You're going to bring your right knee out to the side, and then you're going to make big circles with your knee. Slowly going forward. This motion, so you're circling out through your hip. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. Do one more this direction. Okay, and then you're going to reverse, go the other way. We're going to do 4 circles in each direction. Okay, and then we're going to come back down to tabletop. Tuck your toes underneath you. Sit all the way back on your heels and then reach back. Make sure all of your toes are tucked under. This is called toes pose, and it can be pretty painful because our feet usually get really tight. So we're going to take a few breaths here. Stretch out the bottom of our feet. This is also called screaming toe pose, so you might be experiencing that. Just take one more breath here. Okay, then come back down to your tabletop, untuck your toes, pat the tops of your feet, rub it out. Then we're going to go to the other side for the fire hydrant circles. So you're going to bring your left knee out to the side, slowly circle it forward, making big circles with your knee. You're still breathing slowly. Do one more circle here. So we do 4 on this side in this direction. Then reverse, go the other way. Last one. Come back down to tabletop. Tuck your toes. Sit back on your heels. Okay, take a few more breaths. So again, part of what gets restrictive in the cross-legged position also has to do with the bottom of our feet. So that's why we're stretching those out as well. All right, take another breath. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. Untuck your toes. Pat the tops of your feet. Then cross your ankles. Sit back on your heels. And we're going to come into a butterfly pose. So for butterfly pose, you bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees come out wide. Try and sit up tall best you can. If you want, you can close your eyes, and we'll take a few breaths here. Okay, one more deep breath. Okay, then for this next pose, you have a couple of options. You can come into what's called deer pose, where you're going to keep your left leg where it is, bent in front of you, and then you're going to bring your right knee to the bottom of your left foot, just like you are kind of in a hurdling position. This is called deer pose, or the other option is to come into pigeon pose, where you actually will bring your right leg all the way back underneath you, back behind you, so that you're sitting up on top of your hips like this. So either option is okay. They both are good hip opening poses. Once you get into that pose, you're going to either stay upright. If that's where you are at this point, that's great. It's still going to be stretching. Other option is to come forward, down onto your forearms, or cross your arms, bring your head down. Either way, we're going to stay here for a while, probably about 8 breaths. So again, if it's helpful for you, just slowly count your breath in and out. Two more breaths here. Okay, and if you've lowered down, bring yourself back up and bring your hands behind you. Bring your foot forward so that your knees are up in the air. And then we're going to take our knees from side to side like a windshield wiper. So slowly working them back and forth, using your breath with your movement. Okay, come back here. Then we're going to switch it to the other side. So if you had your left leg forward last time, you're going to switch so that your right leg is forward. And you can be turning towards the top end of your mat. I'm just turning this way so you can see better. So either in your deer pose, like a hurdle, or you can have your leg extended back behind you into pigeon pose. And then you're either upright, nice tall spine, or come down onto your forearms. And then we'll breathe here again for 8 breaths, slow and steady. Okay, one more breath. And bring yourself back up. Bring your hands back behind you. Bring your feet out in front of you again. Back to those windshield wipers, slowly going back and forth from side to side with your knees. Good. Then come back up. Then we're going to come all the way down onto our back on the mat. So lower yourself back down. Scoot your feet back so that they're close to your body enough to be able to reach down and touch your ankles, the back of your ankles with your fingertips. If you can't quite reach, that's okay, but that's what we're working towards. Your feet are hip distance apart. Your hands are going to be down by your side with your palms down on the mat. We're going to go back and forth between our bridge pose and our knees to chest, and we'll match it with our breath. So as you breathe in, push your feet down into the mat, lift your hips up to full extension, so trying to get so that there's not a bend anymore in your hips. And then as you breathe out, slowly lower back down. And then as you breathe in this time, bring your knees into your chest. You can squeeze it in tight. And then as you exhale, set your feet back down, planting them hip distance apart. Then inhale, lift your hips up to bridge. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, bring your knees into your chest. Squeeze it tight. And then exhale, set it down. One more time. Inhale, lift your hips up. And then exhale, lower down. Inhale, knees to chest. And then exhale, bring it back down. Okay, now you're going to extend your left leg out straight. Flex your left foot. Bring your right knee into your chest. Squeeze it tight. Good. Then if you can, you're going to try and take your knee up around your ribs and pull it up towards your armpit. So you're just opening up a little bit more through your hip. Take another breath here. Okay, then bring your knee back to center. Extend your right arm straight out to the side. Grab onto the outside edge of your right knee and then gently pull it across over to your left side. Trying to keep your right shoulder and your right hand down on the mat or on the ground. Okay, then last thing you're going to do is pick your head up just a little bit and turn and look towards your right hand. This is our supine twist. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Okay, one more breath. And then come back to center. Pull your knee back into your chest, and at the same time, flex your left leg, press down. So you're trying to press the back of your thigh into the mat. It's not going to reach it, but just emphasizing that stretch between the two legs, stretching out through your hip flexor. All right, and then you're going to switch legs. Straighten your right leg all the way out, flex your right foot, pull your left knee into your chest, squeeze it tight. And then bring your knee up around your ribs towards your armpit. Pull it in tight again. And then bring it back to center. This time extend your left arm straight out to the side, palm down on the ground. Pull your knee over to the right. Again, keeping your left shoulder and your left hand down on the ground. Then pick your head up just a little bit, turn and look over to your left hand. Then we're in our supine twist on the other side. And we're going to take 5 breaths here. Okay, last breath. Slowly come back up. Pull your knee back into your chest. Flex out your right leg. Press your back of your right leg down to the mat as you pull your left knee into your chest. And then set both feet down on the ground, knees pointed up to the ceiling. We're going to come into happy baby pose. So for this, you're going to pull your knees back into your chest. Extend your feet up towards the ceiling or the sky with your knees bent. Reach your hands in between your knees and reach up. Try and grab onto the outside edge of your feet. If you can't quite reach them, you can grab onto your calves or your ankles or your big toes. And then if you can grab onto your feet or your big toes, you're going to pull your feet down towards you so that you're pulling your knees in towards your armpits. And then, as the name says, happy baby, you're going to rock back and forth like a little baby would laying on its back. And then breathe. Okay, and then take one more breath here. And release your feet, bring them back down to the mat. Then bring the soles of your feet together, your knees out wide. We're in our reclined butterfly pose now. This will be our last pose before Shavasana. So while you're here, again, try and relax. Bring your one hand to your lower belly, one up to your chest. Take several slow and steady breaths here. Slide your feet a little bit farther away from you. Take another breath. All right, and then extend your legs all the way out straight. Take them as wide as your mat and let your feet relax out towards the sides. Bring your arms by your side with your palms up. Let your fingers relax and curl in a little bit. Pick your head up just a little bit, set it back down. Make sure your shoulders, back are nice and relaxed on the mat. Then we're going to take a deep breath in, starting down at our toes, and breathe all the way up to the top of your head. Then as you breathe out, slowly let yourself relax a little bit more. Good, and we're going to do it again one more time. Breathe in all the way up your body. Breathe out slowly, relaxing as you go. Okay, then we're going to stay here for a minute or two in our Shavasana. So again, this is one of the most important parts of practice, but sometimes it's the hardest thing, just to be still. But let your body and in your mind, enjoy it for a few moments. Find your mind wandering when we're in this pose, just come back to your breath. Think again about your inhale and your exhale. As we come out, you're going to bring your legs back together. Flex your feet, reach your arms all the way up past your head. Stretch as far as you can. Make yourself as long as you can and take a breath in and back out. Bring your hands back by your side. Roll onto your side and slowly bring yourself back up to a seat. We're going to come back to that cross-legged position. Again, just for a moment, give you a chance to check in, see how you're feeling, notice any differences. Be patient with the process. Sometimes it takes a while, so you just got to come back, practice again. But thanks for coming today. Namaste.